I am not going to let you fail. Not going to let you fail. I'm not going to
Yeah,
let you
yes.
fail. If even if my volume goes down, I will not let you fail.
I literally feel like I have a superpower.
You are a nice car with a old engine, and we put a better engine in you. And now you're a race car. My first 3 months as a mortgage broker on this episode of Major Money Matters. All right, welcome to another episode of Major Money Matters. I have on the channel today Miss Angela Carter, also known as Angie Knows Loans, and we're going to talk about her first 3 months as a mortgage broker after I tried to bring her onto my team for 2 full years. She finally made the jump. So first of all, Angie, how are you, first of all?
I'm doing well. I'm excited for Monday. Help people get qualified to get a home. Like I woke up ready. I'm like, yes, who can we get in a home today? So,
Well, after the month you had last month, I imagine you would be excited.
super motivated. Super motivated.
So you wrapped up last month. Was it 8 units for 2.4 million?
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Fantastic. So first of all, I want you to fill everybody in. The title of the video is My First 3 Months as a Mortgage Broker, but you're not new to mortgages at all. So first of all, you service Texas. Are you licensed in any other states other than Texas?
Just got licensed in California and Louisiana.
Perfect. Excellent. Now, so tell us your background, where you're from and how you got into loans and how it was, the first, where were you before you became a mortgage broker?
Okay. Yes, I am from Texas. That's why my shirt, Texas Chica, born and raised. I actually got into mortgages because I was trying to pay down debt. So I was an accountant at a nonprofit, which they were paying, nonprofit money, right? You do it for the love and that's it. And so my sister is a realtor and my brother-in-law is a home inspector. So they both were like, you're good at numbers. You need to do loans, like become a loan officer. And I was like, yeah, sure. Okay. And they're like, no, you need to do it. So I was like, all right, let me just look up the classes. And I was like, ooh, it's kind of expensive. The classes are kind of expensive. Again, I'm on nonprofit income. So money's tight. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. But one day my sister called me and she was like, you could have made this on a loan. And I was like, what? Okay, so that will pay for my classes. Okay, cool. So let me go ahead and take the classes. And I just was looking at it seriously as a side income to pay down my car, my student loans, just so I can not live paycheck to paycheck because I'm always about work-life balance. Mm-hmm. So that's how I started. I started at a company where they allowed me to do part-time. I was literally closing like 1, maybe 2 deals a year because again, right? So I was working at my nonprofit. You didn't realize the story was going to be this long. This is what happened.
No, go ahead. I want your story.
Okay. So I was working at the nonprofit and God knows me and he knows I'm not going to move unless I get uncomfortable. So he started making my job very uncomfortable to where I just was dreading going in. So I was like, Lord, like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to go and get a job in finance because I have my master's, or do you want me to do this loan stuff full time? Immediately he was like, I need you to jump. And I was like, wait. So you want me to do the loan stuff full time? Like that's commission. Like my dad grew up on commission. I saw how the ups and downs of it. So I was like, I'm not sure if you're sure. So I'm going to pray for like 30 days on this and just really make sure. And the answer was the same every single day. So I was like, all right, cool, I'm going to jump. So I jumped into the world and I loved it. I actually changed companies when I jumped because the first company I was with was a disaster to where I would never be able to grow my business if I was there. So the second company was really good. I had been there, for 6 years. And then it was one of those things where I had such a bad experience at my first company that I did not want to leave because it was good. I was happy with the people I worked with. The company was good. I was learning a lot. Great support system. So I was like, I'm not trying to go. So Major is calling me like, hey, this is going to be a great opportunity for you. And I'm like, it's going to take a lot to get me to leave because again, if it's not broken, I don't move, you
Yeah.
know? Um, but I think what really started making me want the change is because the environment for the market had started to change. But also, when people disturb complacency, when the team I work for starts thinking of changing companies, I'm like, well, if you're thinking of changing, I need to make sure that this change is good for me too.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
now it's making me think. And then one of my friends, one of my colleagues also was like, I'm out of here. And I was like, okay, well, let me talk to her. And so it just kind of started planting the seed. At the beginning of the year, I had already been trying to see what my value was at this company. So I was interviewing with other people just to see what would they offer if I left, with no intention of leaving, mind you. I was like, I'm set. I'm here forever.
And then you weren't.
And then I wasn't, but I think that's how where I've been. It was a retail lender, and the interest rates at that company were really high for like anytime somebody mentioned shopping, I was like, oh, like I already know I'm gonna lose. Like I already know. Um, and I wouldn't say that that's the sole reason why I left, but because it just was a benefit of leaving is that I was going to get better pricing.
Yeah.
So
Because the reality is in mortgages, the reality is we know some very good producers. Okay. I'm thinking of one in the DFW area right now who is a very good producer, a very good originator. And by the way, this conversation is for loan officers. Okay. So
yeah,
there are some things we're going to get into that loan officers face and loan officers deal with. Um, that, if you're a consumer, you're not really going to care. But if you're a loan officer, that does go to your job satisfaction and how you service your clients. So I'm thinking of an originator right now in the DFW area that is a very good originator. In fact, one of the best in the nation, I would say. And frankly, her rates are horrible. So the reality is, if you're a good originator, you can sell high rates. That's the truth. And if I'm
yeah.
talking to another originator, sometimes it's not even the rate conversation, it's the other things that are really making you want to look someplace else. So I actually connected. So you and I was trying to reach out to you, and then you were paying me no attention. And then I connected with a realtor that you work with.
Yes.
And, and then I don't know. I know we never talked about this. Did that get your attention?
No, it didn't.
Okay.
I mean, I would just mess with him. I'd be like, "Oh, like I see you've been quiet lately," because I already knew where he was. I knew where he was,
Mhm.
and so I definitely was like, "What are you doing?" But I couldn't be mad. I'm like, he's got to feed a family, so I'm like, but no,
Yeah.
it wasn't like,
So
why is he going over there? That should have been the question, is why, right? No, I'm like, hey, like,
what
it's
about me?
me,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you started to question, like, hey, you started to look other places. And I would like plant things and say things. And I said things and kind of you saw them lived out later on. Is that
Yes.
accurate? Okay.
Yes.
So when I said things, you started to open your eyes to things and said, wait a minute, that's why this, and this happens.
Yes.
Or that's why they say this, and this. And
Yes.
the reality is some people don't understand certain things about origination, because if you're in the ins and outs of just producing, you don't really think about certain things. You're just kind of, I'm just originating loans and trying to close and trying to make a business.
I
So
think, well, and I think one of the biggest things against you that was not your downfall, but was why I probably didn't have a conversation further than hello, was because I've always been implanted where brokers are bad. If you go to a broker, you're going to have more work. If you go to a broker, it's not going to close on time. You have all these overlays. I mean, like all the different things that have been put into my head, like almost because I've never been at a broker. So it's always
yeah.
retail. So I'm always hearing this. In hindsight, I'm like, hey, my friend, my colleague, we talk all the time. We both were like, we were lied to. Like brainwashed almost, to where it's like, what?
Yeah.
We just didn't
And
know,
so
you know.
and that's interesting because when I used to be retail also, and when I was retail, they told me the same thing. And then I became a broker and I was like, wait a minute, you just told me all of this stuff that's really untrue. And I come over here and I
Yeah.
find myself, I mean, if you lied to me about this, what else did you lie to me about if you lied
Well,
to me about this?
and that's where it started to, when you were saying stuff, I was like, I'm gonna go find out for myself, right? Like I'm gonna go ask, because
Yep.
I'm that type of person. Like I am not gonna just take it. So I'm like, especially because you're outside of the family. Remember, like these are people I trust. I've been working with. So I'm like, they wouldn't tell me a lie. If they say brokers are bad, they must be horrible. Like, like, and then I had people that had been in brokers that came back and they were like, yeah, they just was horrible over there. So I'm like, brokers equal bad. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely.
So
But
when
the
you're
interesting,
telling me something, I'm like, he's just saying that because he's trying to recruit me. Like,
yes.
like I have a defense against you, but here I didn't.
Yeah, exactly. So and the interesting thing is like, if somebody left your company, your previous company, and they went to another retail lending company and they came back to your company, they would never say retail lenders are bad. They would just
Right.
say that company is bad.
Yes.
And it could be that
Yes.
you just went to the wrong company, wrong situation, wrong setup. So you've been
Yes.
over on this side now for 3 months. Okay. And we have not discussed any questions I'm going to ask. Okay, so I don't know what I'm going to get. I pretty much know the truth, but
Technically 4 months. I just have to throw that out there.
okay,
Technically
technically
four.
4 months. So technically 4. You came over in April. You came April 2nd. That's what
Yeah.
NMLS said.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of April, May, June, July. Okay, cool. You finished up your 4th month
Yeah.
as a broker, and you just did 8 deals for 2.4 million last month.
Mhm.
Talk about how, number one, the transition was, and what were your fears that you had about your processes as an originator that you found are actually, better than you thought they were going to be.
Okay, yes. So the transition, let's talk about that first. The transition, the first 2 weeks, I feel like I dedicated to learning the system, which I didn't need 2 weeks to learn the system. It was just more so me learning where to find stuff, and more so learning which investors to go to, right? Because this was a whole new system. So I'm like, okay, well, how do I lock, where I normally would find fees? Like, what does that look like here? And then adding people into the file, like when I add the processor and stuff like that. So more, that was probably like the first couple of days. I think the first week was really trying to find like which investors I like, what we have available, because we have so much stuff available. I wanted to know like if I'm heavy on assistance. So I wanted to know who all did the assistance program so I can know when I have that client come, I know who my people are. So I literally, before I reached out to any referral partners, I wanted to know what I had. So that way, when I reached out to them, I was like, hey, boom, we got this. Like, what, you need to come work with me. Like now I feel like I have a superhero cape. So I will say some of the fears don't even have to go with processing. Some of them are inflicted, I guess you could say. But for processing purposes, we had a whole pod system, right? So it was literally, I pre-qualified people, pre-approved people.
At your
I
previous
submitted,
company.
yeah, at my previous
Mhm.
company, I submitted it to my sales assistant. My sales assistant then submitted to the processor submitted underwriting. Then there's a back end processor. And then we had a lady who would kind of like tie everything in between. Like she would do the written verifications of employment. She would get our insurance set up. Like she would do all the different things. And then the back end processor would submit it for the clear to close. And then we had a closing coordinator that would get the files ready. And then it would go to our closer. So there were so many people that were in the process. So I'm like, what is this going to look like? What? Because I've always heard, again, I'm going to be doing more work if I go to a broker. So I'm like, what is that going to look like if I switch over? How much am I going to be having to do?
Yeah.
Right. So that was one of the things I told you. I was like, I'm big on support. I want to know like the processes, because that's important to me, because in order for me to be successful, I need to know that I have support underneath me. Because even though I've been doing it for 8 years, I still feel like I'm new, you
Hmm.
know? Is it 8 years?
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. so anyway, and I get my processor, who's amazing, by the way. And I'm like, all right, so what do I do? And you're like, just submit it to her. And I'm like, yeah, okay, but like, do I need like a sales assistant? No, just give it to her like you would do the sales assistant. Okay, do that. And then I'm like, okay, well, what else? That's it. Just go get more business. Wait, so she does everything? She does everything. You mean so she does the verifications of employment, she does the insurance, she does the closing, she does everything, everything. What? This is amazing, right? Like I was like, this is amazing. Like what? Anyway, so
Yeah,
I've
so
been
it
very
became interesting because you would ask me questions, and I'd be like, I don't know. The processor does it.
yeah,
How do they do this? I don't know. I'm going to get the next loan. I'm just moving on. And the interesting thing from originator standpoint, and people at retail shops and stuff like this. Now, I have never said that the people at your previous company are bad people. Never said
right.
that. Okay.
Nope.
It was just a conversation about what is best for you and best for your clients. Okay.
Right.
Where are you going to have the opportunity to make more money? Where are you going to have the opportunity to close more deals? Where are you going to have the opportunity to service clients better or service realtors better and your clients?
Mhm.
And then for your buyers, are they going to have lower interest rates and better terms and better opportunities to get into homes over on this side versus where you are? That was it. Because I never have a
Yeah.
conversation about people because people are people. People change
Yeah.
companies all the time.
And if you had, to be honest, if you had said something bad, I'd have been like, ugh, I don't like
Exactly.
that. Like, don't be coming at my people like that.
Yeah,
You
my
know them,
family. That's
right?
right. But the issues became, from a business standpoint, when if you're at a company where you have all of these people doing all of these things, the reality is all of those people have to get paid. So if
Mhm.
all of those people have to get paid, I immediately know that your rates are higher because people don't work for free. So that
Right.
drives up the cost of origination,
Yeah.
where I know that that originator's income can't be above a certain point because that branch manager has to be able to pay all of those people.
Right.
And on this side, on the broker side, I mean, we have so many, efficiencies built in and everything. These days, the broker side today is much different than the broker side 5 to 10 years ago. There's so many efficiencies built in where we can scale and one
Mhm.
processor can do 40 50 loans a month, and the originators can just go get more business and service the client.
Yeah. I think one of the things with the process was I always used it almost as a crutch because it was like, you just know it's going to be taken care of. So jumping into a place where you're like, I know nothing. And it really felt like it was scary because it's like, oh my gosh, like, is it going to be everything that I've been promised? Is it going to, and I'm like, okay, let's just like one, I knew someone, two, you were very like, trust me, like, I think what really sold me on you was when you were like, I do this amount of volume. And I'm imagining because if I'm getting recruited at my volume's here, yours is like here, right? If I'm getting recruited here for people, I'm like, I can't imagine like the people that are recruiting you. So, and you were like, I do this and I stay because this has always been the better deal. And I'm like, that's huge. And if you're able to maintain your business being this much volume, that's pretty good, because if it was bad systems and bad processes, you wouldn't be as successful as you are,
I
so like I'm thinking about those as well.
Yeah, I mean, people always, that's always amusing to me when people will say, like, hey, brokers can't close on time and all of this stuff. And I'm like, do you think I keep getting business because I don't close on time, or my processes are bad, or I can't support my realtor partners and stuff like that? Do you think that's actually reality? But I understand the fear. I
Yeah.
never, like, when I work with buyers, I always say, I always try to remember what it was like buying my first home, how scared I was. Especially, as a man who has a spouse and kids and everything, I was terrified. So I try to keep that in perspective when buyers are talking to me. And then originators, trying to keep everything in perspective of the fear that I had when I jumped to the broker side. and really understanding where you were. And my only commitment was I said, look, Angie, I am not going to let you fail. Okay. I'm not going to
Yeah,
let you
yes.
fail.
Yes.
If even if my volume goes down for you to succeed, I will not let you fail. And now then you come over here and you're like, oh, this is great. I love it. This is amazing. This is
Yes.
great. Um, so referral partners.
Yep.
One of the concerns you had was like, what will my referral partners think if I switch companies? Like, am I going to lose referral partners or something like that? What did you actually find when you switched to the broker side and you started informing your referral partners, hey, I'm transitioning or something like that? What was because the fear that you have is a fear that many originators have. So what did you find when you actually made the jump or told your realtor partners that you made the jump?
So my fear was going to be they hear you're going to work for a broker. Oh, absolutely not. Like, this is going to be horrible. I don't trust it anymore. Like, we had a good thing going, that was my fear. When I started telling people that I was switching, like even like my core people that I had worked with, and I started kind of giving them heads up, this is what I'm doing. And then to people that I had tried to do, or I had done business with, and they had kind of went elsewhere or whatever. They're like, what? Yes, I've been waiting for you to make a move. Like, and I'm like, wait a minute. They're like, this is great news. And I'm like, wait, are you excited because I'm thinking it's a great news, or are you excited because now we're going to get more done? Like, it was crazy. I didn't think they were very excited, because I'm thinking, like, if they're excited, like, are you excited just because I'm like, career change? Oh, good job. Congratulations.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely. Facebook post, congratulations. Like,
they're like, I've
whatever.
been waiting for you to leave. Wait, what?
And
And then
this is
I've had like
go ahead.
realtors that weren't working with me that had come back, and they're like, yes, I'm glad that you changed. Like, so I'm going to start sending you people. I'm like,
What is this?
all right. And then the extended version that you don't even realize is that your colleagues that you've built in the business are like, hey, we can't do it. Can you do it? I'm just trying to get them into a home.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the part where many people, many originators have these concerns. I mean, we're now to the point where 1 in every 3 loans right now is being done by a mortgage broker. So if that's 1 in every 3 loans, realtors are now starting to figure out, wait a minute, I can have a VA person and a conventional loan person and a non-QM person. I can have all of these different lenders that I send people to, or I could send them to a broker who has access to all of that stuff. And I can really simplify my business and simplify my referral process, because I have one person who can do almost anything. And it's a lot simpler for me, because I don't have to bounce the buyer from one person to the next, or I don't have to have them get their credit pulled 3 or 4 times to figure out whether they can do something. That part is what realtors are starting to realize, and originators are having to catch up to.
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny because I remember having a client that was like, I'm shopping you. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, sure, and then they tell me, yeah, with PRMG, is it PRMG?
Yep.
Yeah.
PRMG. Yep.
And I was like, oh, we have them as a lender. And they were like, oh, you do? And I was like, yeah, we could do that. And they're like, oh, well, I'll just stay with you then. Right. Like, yes.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just a different realm, to where I used to be like, when they said hinted at shopping, like, or they were like, the interest rate's high. I was like,
Yes. And you couldn't do anything about it.
couldn't do anything. Now I'm like, okay. I was like, well, like, or even I feel like I can call bluff now, like, where a client's like, well, this other person's giving me, and I'm like, well, send it over, send it over. I'm sure I can beat it. I'm sure out of all of the lenders I have access to, I can beat it,
Right.
And then they're like, well, I think what you have is good. I know it is.
It is. And that part is amazing to really have an understanding about the market. Like it's like you're looking at so many different companies and you're like, they're not offering that. That's not real.
Right.
Not without buying a lot of points, because you have not from one, you don't have the perspective of one company, you have the perspective of multiple different companies
Right.
and where they're pricing. That part is made. So you're having a lot more fun. Okay.
Yeah.
You're a lot more excited, which is
Mhm.
scary for me because you're excited by nature. So so you're
My
having a lot more
boyfriend says
fun.
the same thing. He's
Say
like,
again, say that
"Whoa."
again.
I said, my boyfriend says the same thing. He's
Yes,
like,
yeah, I can't wait
oh
to
my
meet him.
gosh.
I still got to meet him. So you're having a lot more fun. You're a lot more excited. What do you see as the future? What are your next goals? What are you seeing is now possible with growing your business? Now, and by the way, the part that I enjoy about you is that, you had branded like Angie Knows Loans.
Mhm.
That was your thing and you were committed to that. And I really appreciated that. Some people will think, like, there are people that think, oh, you went to work for Major. You don't work for me. You
Somebody
do
says,
not.
"Oh, I hear you joined, the company Major Money Matters," and I'm like,
Okay.
"No, but yes." I mean, yeah, like I was having that conversation with somebody that was like, "Well, he's not my manager." I said, "Let's say mentor, mentor." Yes, but it was so funny because it is. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah, you don't work for me. You work for Angie Knows Loans. You build your
yeah,
own brand. You run your own thing. You have access to the same things that I have access to. We do collaborate on some questions, like when we have funky things going on. And you've taught me some things because you've done a lot more FHA loans than I've done. So
yeah,
you've taught me some things. So it's much more of a more collaborative conversation, which I appreciate. And you bring value to the team and to the company by the
yeah.
things that you've been able to do and your experiences. But what do you see as the future? What's next? What do you want to accomplish, in the rest of
Mhm.
2025 and going forward?
Okay, so I feel like I'm kind of being aggressive because now I feel like I am a true value add to my referral partners. Where I'm like, you need to be like, I know you said that you have this over here, but you need to be here. Like there's a confidence that comes with this backing, and it's just kind of like, now I feel like that sounds cocky, but I am doing you a service if you work with me, because one, I know I'm on top of my stuff, so that's, but I also have this backing that now, before, because I've always been on top of myself, but now I have this too. So it's kind of like, I feel like I have a super, I literally feel like I have a superpower. So it's like I'm being more aggressive, um, to the point where I have a challenge set up for myself. Well, and I have a few referral partners that I asked if they wanted to do it too, but essentially calling 30 people from my CRM a day, and just
Wow.
like going in, knocking it out, like people that I haven't talked to probably since I started.
Hmm.
I just want to kind of touch, because I want to resurrect my CRM, because I really do feel like that's where leads go to die. I just signed up for RAD,
Okay.
so that way, if I'm already kind of letting these people know like this is what's happening, then you never know, some deals might come from it, and then I can give it back to the person who originally sent it to me. Now that relationship is building again, so just, it's aggressive. Like my end of the year is like, I really want to blow it out the water, I guess you could say. That's my goal. I want to exceed my goal from last year for petty reasons.
Petty. Did you say for petty reasons? Not for
Yeah.
many reasons, for petty reasons.
For petty reasons.
And I want you to succeed for pettier reasons.
you know, but that was also one of my fears, right? Like one of my fears that I'm telling you is not rational. It's like, I had two fears, and they both were stemming from the same thing. One was fear of disappointing you, which, because, I know, but, like, you're like, hey, come over, you'll do great here. And then, like, and I flounder, you'd be like, ugh, go back, and then two is proving people right, where they were like, you're gonna go over there, you're not gonna do great, like you're gonna have hard loans and they're not gonna be able to get it done. Then I didn't want to prove them right. So it's like two things where I'm like now motivated to like do, better in those realms. So
Yeah.
but that's for the year. What I ultimately see is that, when I say I want to be a value add to my realtors is that I truly am trying to put together something to where the people who are like ride or dies, loyal, like they have, it's almost like a VIP kind of like package. I know that sounds bad, but it's like you're gonna do everything first. You're gonna do these different things. Like you're my A1s, but also not eliminating the new ones because I'm still gonna grow the business and help them grow and stuff like that. But I feel like more time will be allocated here, but still growing this side of it because I do want to grow. I told myself I wasn't gonna start recruiting till I like felt comfortable after like at least 6 months here, but I think that will start coming to play the more confident I am in recruiting loan officers. Because right now I'm like it's great. Like I'm kind of being selfish. Like I'm like I love it. Like let me just sit in this for a second before I have to like show somebody else the ropes. So,
Yeah.
but I am making my notes so that way when I do that, I can be able to be like transparent and be like, hey, when they say that these are your fees, these are your fees. Like there's no just kidding, like, oh, I forgot to tell you about that one. Like, no, this is it,
Yeah.
And tell them like where you're really going to see the biggest impact is when you have a month like mine,
Right. Absolutely.
know?
Absolutely.
So,
I will tell you, I mean, when we talked last week and we realized what your month was, because really, honestly, I don't keep track of, how much you are originating. I just don't. If you need help, I'll help you. But, when you told me what you did last month, and then, so I will ask you, did you make more money than you would have made if you would have done the same amount of volume at your previous company?
yes.
And what's that? Substantially.
That's substantially more. Like,
and if you did that and your buyers got better interest rates, you didn't take advantage of anybody.
I didn't take advantage of them.
You didn't take advantage. You closed faster. Your realtor partners were happy. You got some things
I closed
done.
One in 7 days. One loan that closed in 7 days. They were like, they went under contract on the 23rd. So we got the contract that evening and they closed on the 31st.
Wow.
So technically 8 days, but you didn't start it till that next day. Right.
But if you do that, if you're making more money, if you're serving the client better, if you're serving the realtor better, who's going to complain about that? Who's losing in that situation?
Right.
And it's just because of, all we did was we took you were a nice car with a old engine, and we put a better engine in you. And now you're a race car. So I am very proud of you. I am excited for your success. I am happy for your success. And I am so excited about what the rest of 2025 is going to be like for you. And I'm excited to see Angie Knows Loans everywhere.
Yes.
And for you to really continue to grow your brand. I'm extremely happy for you.
Thank you. I'm excited. I'm grateful that you were persistent. You didn't give up on little me.
I was like, what is this girl doing? Like, this is so exhausting. Does she not know? The fact that you showed
me in the email from 2 years ago, and I was like, ooh.
No, I'm excited for you. I know things take time, and all things happen in God's timing. And I'm just happy that, this is your time. Okay, guys, if you're an originator and you have questions, you want to know about the broker side, both Angie and I are an open book. You can reach out, ask any questions that you want. We will tell you the God's honest truth, good, bad, and indifferent. And if you think you want to take a look at this way of building your brand and building your business, we'd love to help you do it. Angie, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. We'll see you guys next time on Major Money Matters.
Bye.